The alarm went off at 6:15 a.m. Marcus's hand moved before his mind was awake, silencing the noise. He lay there, the warmth of the bed pressing against him, the familiar weight of sleep pulling him back. His thumb hovered over the snooze button. He had done this thousands of times. He pressed it. He would press it again in 9 minutes. He already knew how the morning would go. Rushed, scattered, starting the day already behind. He did not think about it. The decision felt automatic, harmless. It was just a few minutes, but those few minutes set the tone for everything that followed. He would rush through his routine, skip breakfast, scroll through his phone while his coffee went cold, and arrive at work already feeling like he was playing catch-up. The pattern was so familiar he had stopped noticing it. Marcus was not failing at life. He had a decent job, a small apartment, friends who thought he was doing fine. On paper, everything was okay, but there was a quiet weight he carried, a sense that he was running in place while others moved ahead. He had ideas. He wanted to start a side project, get in shape, learn new skills. He made plans, felt excited, promised himself he would start. Then the alarm rang and he hit snooze. The day slipped away, and he told himself tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow came and the pattern repeated. He had read books about discipline, watched videos about habits, downloaded apps to track his time. He knew what he should do, but knowing and doing were separated by a small, invisible wall. The wall appeared every morning when the alarm rang. It appeared every evening when he sat on the couch with his phone. It appeared every time he told himself he would start later. Later never came. It just moved forward, and he stayed exactly where he was. One evening, Marcus was scrolling through his phone when he came across a short clip. A woman was speaking, her voice calm. "Motivation is not the engine," she said. "Action is the engine. Motivation is just the passenger. If you wait for motivation to show up, you will never leave the station." He watched it twice. The words settled into his chest, uncomfortable and undeniable. He thought about his mornings, the snooze button, the delay, the promise of later. He thought about all the things he had started and abandoned, all the versions of himself he had imagined but never built. He was waiting for motivation to arrive, and motivation never stayed long enough to get him anywhere. That night he made a rule, not a goal, not a plan, a rule. When the alarm rang, he would get up. No negotiation, no thinking, no snooze. He would move before comfort had time to speak. The next morning, the alarm rang at 6:15. His hand moved toward the snooze button, the same instinct, the same pattern. But this time, he stopped. His thumb hovered. He could feel the pull of the bed, the warmth, the voice whispering just 5 more minutes. He swung his legs over the side and sat up. Nothing magical happened. He was still tired. The day still stretched ahead. But something had shifted. He had moved before comfort could vote. The first week was brutal. His brain fought him every morning. The old pattern was seductive, familiar, easy. Some days he won. Some days he lost. He would hit snooze, fall back asleep, and wake up later with the sharp sting of disappointment. But he did not stop trying. He learned something during that week. The goal was not perfection. The goal was to act before the debate started. Then came the setback. Project at work ran late. He came home exhausted, fell into bed, and woke up to the alarm already ringing. His hand reached for the snooze button before he could stop it. He pressed it once, then again. He lay there, the old pattern swallowing him, and the voice returned. "See? You cannot do this. You might as well stop." He almost listened. It would have been easy. No one would know. No one would care. He stared at the ceiling, and for a long moment, he let himself consider going back. Then he thought about the woman's words. "If you wait for motivation, you will never leave the station." He thought about the years he had spent waiting. He sat up, not because he felt strong, not because he felt motivated, because he had made a rule, and he was not going to let one bad morning undo it. He got up. He went to the kitchen, made coffee, and sat by the window. The sun was rising. He watched it for a few minutes, letting the silence settle around him. Something clicked. Not outside. Inside, he stopped negotiating with himself. The voice that said later and skip and tomorrow did not disappear, but it lost its power. Weeks passed. The rule became a habit. Marcus stopped asking whether he felt like getting up. He just got up. The resistance softened. The mornings that had once been a blur of snooze and rush now had shape. He used the extra time to plan his day, to read, to sit in the silence before the noise began. He noticed changes he had not expected. His mind was clearer at work. He was finishing tasks faster, leaving earlier, feeling less drained. The side project he had been avoiding for years no longer felt impossible. He started working on it 1 hour a day before his brain could argue. One afternoon, his manager pulled him aside. "I have noticed something different about you," she said. "You are more focused, more reliable. What changed?" Marcus thought about the question. He could have talked about habits, about productivity methods. But the truth was simpler. "I stopped waiting," he said. "I started moving before I could talk myself out of it." 6 months later, the side project was no longer a dream. It was a real business, small but growing. Marcus had built it in the hours he reclaimed from hesitation. He had learned new skills, connected with people he never would have met, and discovered a version of himself he had not known existed. A year later, his life looked different. He had left his old job to work on the business full-time. He had more energy, more confidence, more control. The mornings that had once been a struggle were now his favorite part of the day. He woke up early, not because he had to, but because he wanted to see what he could build. If you asked him what changed everything, he would not talk about the business or the money. He would not talk about the habits or the systems. He would say, "It was the morning I stopped negotiating with myself. The morning I moved before comfort had time to speak." Here is what Marcus learned, and it is worth holding on to. Most people wait for motivation. They wait to feel ready, to feel confident, to feel like the time is right. But motivation is a passenger, not an engine. It shows up when it wants and leaves without warning. The people who change their lives do not wait. They act before motivation arrives. They act before comfort has time to vote. They understand that action creates motivation, not the other way around. Every day you face a split second, a moment between a thought and a decision. In that moment, your brain will offer the easier path. Later, skip, tomorrow, it will sound reasonable. It will feel like the smart choice. But that moment is where your life is built. If you wait, you stay. If you move, you grow. You do not need more motivation. You need to stop negotiating. You need a rule that is stronger than your feelings. When the alarm rings, you get up. When the work is in front of you, you start. When you feel the pull of delay, you move. Not because you feel like it, because you decided. The first time you act before comfort speaks, it will feel uncomfortable. Your brain will resist. You will want to go back. That discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is the doorway. And on the other side of it is a version of you who does not wait, who does not delay, who does not let hesitation steal the life you want. Now look at your own mornings. The small decision you face before your feet touch the floor. The moment where you either move or delay. That moment is not small. It is the foundation of everything. The life you want is not built in big moments. It is built in these quiet seconds, the ones where you choose action over comfort. You do not need to change everything overnight. You need one rule, one moment, one decision to move before comfort speaks. Repeat it until it becomes who you are. Because one day you will look back and realize that the people who won were not the ones who felt ready. They were the ones who started anyway. And that difference, repeated daily, created everything they became. If this made you see something in your own hesitation, do not let it pass. The next time you feel the pull of delay, move, just once, and see what happens. And if you want more stories that help you stop waiting and start building, hit like and subscribe. Because the people who win are not the ones who feel ready. They are the ones who move before comfort has time to speak.